Am I the arsehole for kicking out our tenants because we want to move into the house ourselves? My husband and I have 2 children. I own our apartment outright and inherited a 5-bedroom 3-bathroom house. I had no use for it and rented it out to a family with 3 children. The house comes with a beautiful pool, so I asked for only half the market rent with the agreement that we could use the pool if we give 24-hour notice. This worked beautifully for both parties. My tenants were happy because they could live in what is basically a mansion for very little money, and I was happy because my tenants took good care of it. My husband and I are now expecting babies number 3 and 4, yes, twins. I have entered the 2nd trimester and we have come to the conclusion that our 2-bedroom apartment will be too small for us. The logical next step for us is to move into the big house. We broke the news to our tenants and gave them 5 months to move out. We didn't expect them to be thrilled, but we thought that they'd accept our decision. Unfortunately, they didn't. There was yelling, tears and threats of legal action. Now legally we're in the clear, but we are wondering if morally we are the assholes for wanting to move into the big house.
Not the asshole. The nature of renting is that you can't expect to live in the rental forever. This was always a possibility for them. And you aren't moving on a whim. You are moving because you're about to have 4 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. It is a very good reason to want to move into your house. You gave them a lot of notice, and they reacted very poorly.
Not the asshole. It's your property and you gave them 5 months of notice. They're just trying to guilt you since they're losing this sweet deal. Legal action is an idiotic threat.
Not the asshole. It's that half the market rent sweetheart deal that they're really unhappy to lose.
Not the asshole. I feel like the only real reason they don't want to go is, like you said, the big house for lower price. It's really just your house, your tenants, your rules. You can decide who stays and goes. If you want them gone, they go. Especially with 5 months notice.
Definitely not the arsehole. 5 months is extremely generous. If they can afford to rent a mansion for half price, they probably can find an acceptable place to live for a similar sum.
I'm actually gonna go with not the asshole. As long as you're not breaking a lease. You gave them a lot of notice to find a new place, and just because they also have kids doesn't give them the right to lay claim to your house. You gave them an amazing deal. It's over now. They've got plenty of notice. So as long as you're not breaking a lease or a verbal agreement that they could stay longer than when you want them out, not the asshole.
Info. Do they have a lease? When does it end? Not the arsehole. As long as you gave them required legal notice, you did nothing wrong. As a tenant, you know that at some point the lease can end. They obviously didn't want to give up a sweet deal, but that's no excuse for flying off the handle. And you're definitely not the arsehole for needing more than a 2-bedroom place for 4 kids. Not the arsehole. 5 months is more than enough notice. It's your house. Make sure all connection with them from now on is in writing and prepare to hire a lawyer.
Not the asshole. Make sure they don't leave your property a mess. Not the asshole legally or morally. You have 5 months notice. They had a good deal which has come to an end. Not the asshole. The other family have been getting an amazing deal up until now. They had to know it wouldn't last forever. Honestly, apart from the fact that it's your property and you have given them more than the required amount of notice, I don't know what else the other family is expecting you to do. Your options are 1. Cram 6 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. Or 2. Rent another place for your growing family. Or 3. Move into the suitable house that you already own. Anyone on here saying they would choose options 1 or 2 are liars.
Can I recommend that you do an inspection of the property now, so that any damage done when they move can be pinpointed to be recent following notice being given? Just a thought. Not the asshole, by the way.
Nah, the capitalist housing system just fucks everyone over. Owning property you don't live in sucks, and throwing people out of their home is really bad, but the system also encourages people to buy and rent out property for financial safety. The problem is neither op nor the renters but the system. Info. What were the terms of the lease? Did they sign a lease for a set amount of time that you're now breaking because of your desire to take the property over? Everyone is saying 5 months is plenty of time to find a new place, but that is irrespective of housing options in that area, what their mobility is, what their income is, and aside from all that, just puts 2 people in a pinch. Seems like it would have been more considerable to let the lease term play out, and inform them that they can't renew at the end.
Not the asshole. You are giving them plenty of time. It is your place. They are renters and the nature of a rental is temporary. Unless they had some reason to believe that you were selling the house to them or would be giving them an extended lease. If they are month to month, you are well within your rights as well as morally in the right.
Nah. If I was them I'd hate you too, but what you're doing isn't wrong, it's your house.
Not the asshole. Hope they don't tear the place up while they move. Not the asshole. Of course it's hard for them to go house hunting and have to pay probably more, but what is the alternative? You have a perfectly good house for your family but have to pay rent for another. Congrats on the twins and don't stress yourself.
You are not the assholes. You gave them plenty of notice and you gave them years of cheap rent so they can't complain. They are more pissed as they have to pay full rent for another house.
Not the asshole. 5 months is a huge amount of time for them to find a new place. Not the asshole. You state in S comment your lease agreement requires 3 months notice, you gave 5.
NTA, your house, and you mentioned in a prior response that you set it for 3-month notice and you're doing it 5 months out. It's fine, like others have said they don't want to lose the place due to cost. Maybe offer them the apartment as an option.
Not the asshole. Really? Yelling and tears. Did they forget they were tenants?
Not the asshole. You gave them a good amount of notice. It's your property and they are tenants. Did they think they were going to live there forever? Sounds like they are bitter over losing a sweet deal on rent.
Not the asshole because you gave them plenty of notice and they had to know there was always a chance that their lease would not be renewed.
Could you do a house swap type of thing where they live in your now apartment and you take the house? So still paying rent and same landlord-tenant familiarity, just a different location. Might work out better for both of you.
Not the asshole. I'm surprised you stuck it out in a 2-bed with 2 kids for so long when you had a 5-bed going begging. Could you offer the apartment as an alternative for them?
Not the asshole. This is why generous, kind people get salty and fed up with the world. Because people take advantage of you. Give them an inch, they want a mile and you have to pry it out of their hands. Those people are greedy.
Not the asshole. It's your property. You can do with it what you please. There are plenty of rentals that get put up for sale while being rented. You gave them adequate notice to find something else. Not the asshole. Rentals are not permanent housing. This is your home. Fight for it. They should have saved the money from the discount you gave in anticipation this could happen. They are not your responsibility. Get a lawyer and make sure everything is done perfectly in case they try to put up a fight.
Not the asshole. I had a house I loved renting. I would have stayed there for a long time. The owners told me they weren't renewing my lease because they wanted to give the place to their daughter to live in. That was fine. I was sad, but it's their house. They can do whatever they want with it. Everyone was polite about it. I moved down the street. Life went on. Same thing, it's your house. That's the downside of renting. After the terms of the lease are up, you have no idea if you're going to be able to stay or even afford that place anymore.
Not the asshole. It is sad for the family, but the house belongs to you and you need it now.
NTA, my house, my rules.
NTA. Rentals are not permanent solutions and plans change. It's your home and if you need it for your children, that's your right. 5 months is way too long. You're only expected to give 30-day notice. You should make more frequent checks and make sure they aren't damaging the property for revenge.
Not the asshole. It's your house. And you're giving them a huge amount of notice. How much notice does the contract state is needed?
Not the asshole. Based of the law in our country that I find quite fair, you'll require 40 days notice to move back into a house you rent out. You gave them 5 months. They are sad that their amazing deal has ended.
Not the asshole. No need to feel bad. That's just how life is. All the best to your family. Take care of yourself.
As long as you're not breaking a contract, then not the asshole.
Info: how long did you rent them the mansion before asking them to move? If they had just moved in, I could maybe see why they would be mad even if you gave them 5 months notice, but if they've been there longer than that, you're in the right.
Not the asshole. Sounds like you've given them plenty of time to find somewhere else. 5 months is more than reasonable in my opinion.
Not the asshole. I did something similar with a 1BR condo I owned 2 years ago. I gave 3.5 months notice. She was upset at first but ended up moving out in 6 weeks. She said she was thankful cause it forced her out of her comfort zone and start really planning for her future. Congrats on the twins.
1. Not the asshole, for all the reasons mentioned. 2. Do what you can to protect the property. Friends lost $20,000 in damages when they gave their renters a lot of notice that the sweetheart deal was ending and they needed to leave. You probably have some inspection rights and if so, use them.
Not the asshole. You are a landlord, you have a tenant and you no longer wish to rent to that tenant anymore. You don't have to have a reason. You just have to give them notice. That's how the rental market works.
Not the asshole. I kind of understand them being upset. But if you're staying within the lease agreement and following the laws where you live, you're not tar. It's your house. And there was always the possibility you would want to move into the house or not renew the lease. You gave them 5 months. They just need to accept it.
Not the asshole. Not the asshole. 5 months is a lot of time to move out and find a new place. Also, congrats on the twins.
My God, you gave them 5 months and they are only pissed because they had a great deal. Instead of thanking you for the time they were able to get such a great deal, they act like this? Wow. Mention you could have given them much shorter notice and still can.
Not the asshole. You gave them 5 months. That is extremely generous.
Not the asshole. As long as you followed procedure and gave them enough warning while sticking to the terms of the lease, which it sounds like you did, you're in the clear. It's in the reality of renting that one place isn't guaranteed as permanent and your tenants are upset that they're losing out on a great deal and will very likely need to be allocating more to their rent budget. I'd be careful as well regarding the condition they leave the house in with the ill feeling they're showing. Unless there's a bond on the line, they might damage things out of spite.